Yeah, so welcome to the live stream here. I'm trying this out. It's a new experiment where I'm just doing a live show. It's a single take. So a couple of reasons I like that. First of all, it's interactive, so people can comment in the comments here in the chat. So hopefully it'll be interactive and interesting. If you can ask some questions, that's definitely appreciated, or any comments and so on. That's kind of the whole idea, to make it interactive so I can actually talk to people instead of just talking to the camera. The other reason I like live streaming is because it's a single take. I just have to shoot it once. It is what it is. I don't have to edit it and add all this kind of stuff and spend a lot of time editing. So I enjoy creating the content. That's my favorite part. So this is my favorite part, the editing and so on. And posting is a lot of work and takes a lot of time. I still enjoy it. It's a creative process, but I kind of like just creating the videos the most. So if I can do this with the live feed, that's my goal, to be able to do live shows. So I'm going to give you a little update here on what's going on at Blue Planet, some news, our video contests, and so on. And then I'm also going to answer some questions from people that were asked in the last couple of weeks here on YouTube. So I always find it like some questions are just easier to answer by talking about it than by writing about it. So it's kind of like if somebody sends you a text and there's no easy answer, sometimes it's easier just to pick up the phone and call them instead of trying to type out pages and pages of text. So I'm going to get into 3 different questions I had from customers. And if anyone's out there, Robbie Crash is saying aloha from Amsterdam in the Netherlands. Aloha, Robbie. Thanks for joining. And if anyone else is watching, maybe say where you're from, and also maybe what time it is. Here in Hawaii, it's 7 a.m., so early in the morning for me, but probably in Amsterdam, it's in the evening. So stoked to have a global audience here on the Blue Planet Surf YouTube channel. And by the way, thank you so much. We just reached 10 million views on Blue Planet Surf, the YouTube channel, which is just incredible to me that we have 10 million views. It's just like mind-blowing that many people watch our videos. Oh, and Dave is in Palm Beach, Florida. And for Robbie, it's 7 p.m. Yeah, so exactly 12 hours time difference. Okay, so today is June 15th, 2021, and we're 2 weeks into our 30 days of posting 2 videos every day. So we started on June 1st, and we're posting a video contest entry, video of the day entry every day. And we have that contest going on for the month of June and July. We're going to post video entries every day, and the grand prize winner is going to be getting $2,000, plus we'll have some other prizes as well. So if you have any cool videos, please submit them. We'll have the information down below. There's a link to the video contest rules and so on. So we've gotten a lot of great entries already, like surfing with dogs, dogs getting barreled, 3 kids riding a wave together, cool wing foiling action on the beach, in the water, on the river in Switzerland, in the waves on Kauai. So kite foiling, kite surfing videos, lots of good stuff. So keep them coming. Super excited to see all those videos coming from all over the world. So keep those videos coming. And part of the part of the criteria that we're judging is how many views and likes those videos get. So please support the ones you like with a thumbs up, and view them, share them, and so on. And then by August 14th, we'll decide a winner. We'll have a top 10 list of all the top 10 videos, and we'll do a show where we're going to announce the winner. And we have a couple more people watching here. Fleming Jans is from Denmark. Aloha, Fleming. Appreciate it. So, okay, so that's it for the video contest. If you have any questions, just let me know. The other news is we're doing a stand-up paddle instructor training class. PSUPA is a professional stand-up paddle association. I'm an instructor trainer for that organization, and I'm offering an online course. It's like a 2-day course in July, 2 Sundays, all day pretty much, where we're going to go over the theory And then, so the online class can be joined by pretty much anybody. Anybody can join it. Then the in-person class is also in July after the classroom training. That's going to be on the beach in the water, practicing what we learned, how to teach a stand-up paddle lesson. So if you're interested in that, check it out. We have it down below. And if you can't make it to the in-person class in July, we also offer private certification later in person, or you can also do it with other certified instructors in other locations. So if you want to just do the online training class, that's also an option. And then for volunteers in the Access Surf organization here on Oahu, we also have a free volunteer training class. So that's also an online Zoom class and in-water training class. It's free for volunteers, but we have limited availability. So if you have already volunteered for Access Surf, you should be able to join that class. Just contact Ann Yoshida, and I'll have the information down in the description below later. At our shop, we just got a new shipment of our premium bamboo carbon composite board. So we have those in stock finally again. They come with if you buy them in the shop, they come with a carbon paddle and a board bag, or we offer free shipping to any major airport in the US on our website. So check out the selection at blueplanetsurf.com. It's the first time we've had these boards in stock for months. Unfortunately, we had a lot of production issues with those boards. But finally, we got inventory, so check it out at our shop. And really appreciate the support. Our shop's been doing great, and thanks to you, our customers. So anyways, is anyone else watching here? And where are you from? We got Amsterdam, Denmark, Palm Beach, Florida. All right, so appreciate that. Okay, so now I'm going to get into some questions that I've had here on the YouTube channel in the last couple of days. And one person here is Arthur. He was watching a how to stand up paddle video, instructional video, and he's asking, I'm heavy and out of shape, so should I even try this? So Arthur, I'm telling you, yes, you need to try this. So no matter what condition you're in, if you're out of shape and heavy, that's fine. The most important thing really is to have the right conditions and the right equipment. So we have a lot of videos on choosing the right board, but basically, if you're a heavier person, you need to make sure your board has enough volume and enough width. So a wider board is going to be more stable, and enough volume is going to make it easier to float on the water, basically. So if let's say you weigh 300 pounds and you need a board that's around 300 liters of volume, I would say between 250 and 300 liters of volume, and very wide, 35 inches or wider. And that's going to allow you to comfortably paddle on the water. And then also go out on a calm day when it's smooth and watch some of our videos with balance tips for beginners. I'll put that in the link down below later as well in the description. So anybody should be able to basically paddle. As long as you can get from a kneeling position to standing up, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to use a stand-up paddleboard. It might take a little while, might take some getting used to. Finding your balance and so on might be a little bit of a challenge, but that's part of the fun, and it might help you get in better shape. So definitely, I would say, do try it, give it a go. Make sure you use the right equipment and go out in the right conditions, and watch some videos and get some instructions, okay? So that was Arthur. The next question was from Sean Coffrey. He is saying, so this was on our Blue Planet show where we were talking with the Oahu crew about wing foiling, and we're talking about our equipment, and we mostly talked about wing size, board size, foil size, and tail wing size, and so on, fuselage, but we didn't really get into the mast length, different mast lengths. So he was asking what mast to use or what mast length we like. So so Sean, I hope you're listening. If not, I'm going to put this link in the question as well. But for me, for wing foiling, I like to use a longer mast. So for me, I'm currently using a 90 centimeter mast. I have tried 1 meter mast, and I've tried shorter ones also, 70, 80, 85 90, all different lengths. And currently, I like 90 the best. It's a nice mix of long enough, but not too long. I find the 1 meter mast was a little bit too long, where I kind of felt almost too far off the water and a little bit tippy. Although I do like to use the 1 meter mast in certain conditions, like if you're going on a downwind or you're going downwind really fast and maybe passing up swells from behind. That 1 meter mast is just going to allow you to kind of pass over the swells without breaching on and having chop. So this is just more forgiving. If you're going fast downwind, having a longer mast, maybe even more than a meter long, is awesome. And also, just if you're just going back and forth and trying to go for maximum speed and maybe riding in choppy water, then for those conditions, a longer mast is definitely helpful. Now, the shorter mast, like my friend Daniel, usually rides a little bit shorter mast, and he uses the same mast for prone foiling as for wing foiling. And definitely, if you're prone foiling in the surf, using a little bit shorter mast gives you more control. It allows you to kind of feel a little bit tighter on the foil, like you're more connected to it, not as far apart. It's a little bit easier to balance on a shorter mast, I find. And then obviously, if you're surfing and over shallow reef and stuff like that, a shorter mast will allow you to surf at lower tides. On a longer mast, you have to be really careful where you're going, not to hit the bottom. And this, sometimes you can only go out on high tide and so on. So the mast length makes a difference depending on the water depth as well, of course. But the advantages of having a longer mast, of course, are when there's chop, you can just kind of fly straight over the chop instead of going up and down with the waves, following the water. You can just kind of go straight across, so it's faster on the longer mast. You don't touch the water as easily, and then also it's less likely to breach. So it gives you a little bit more play to recover. Like if you do a jump and you come back up, and it allows you to recover without breaching the foil, getting the foil out of the water. So definitely a longer mast has a lot of advantages in wing foiling. And my favorite length is 90 centimeters, but it's definitely a personal preference thing. And I think for certain tricks and surfing, a shorter mast can be an advantage as well. So Sean, I hope that answers your question. And then next was Leigh Whitford. He's saying, loving your videos. At what wind speed do you drop down to prone foil boards? I struggle on my 40-liter prone on anything less than 18 knots. So, for me, that one is not that easy to answer because the board I ride is 76 liters. I just use that in all conditions. It's a 4.6 Wing Master. I use that in all conditions because I just like having a little bit more volume, being able to stay on the surface. And I ride that in all wind conditions, even really light wind. I'm able to kind of get that thing going in pretty light winds. Now, my friend Daniel, his bigger board is, I think, 56 liters, and then the smaller, or maybe even less than that, around 50 liters, and then the smaller board is around 30 liters. So for him, the 50-liter board is his big board that he uses in really light wind, and he uses a 4 or 5 wing most of the time, and that 4 or 5 wing and the 50-liter board is enough for him to get going in really light winds. Sometimes he's kind of sitting in the water for a while waiting for a gust to get him going. So he does spend more time floating around in the water waiting for a gust. But once he gets going, I guess that smaller board is just way nicer to maneuver, and turns easier, and then jumping, and it's lighter weight, obviously, and so on. So it definitely has advantages, but to me, it's definitely a compromise as well. And I prefer just using a little bit more volume, bigger board. And my board is still very short. It's 4.6, so it's a very compact board, but it has enough volume to keep me at the surface. So I don't like a small board. You're under the water, and then initially you need some wind just to get you to the surface, and then you need more wind to get going on the foil. So it just takes a little bit more wind. And also you can't like drift out. Like sometimes when the wind's really light on my board, I can still get up and drift out to the wind line. Maybe if it's light inside and it's windier outside, I can get out there and get up on the foil. quicker and easier. So I just spend more time on the foil with a little bit more higher volume board. That's what I like. Okay, so we got another one, Meshmello. He's from Zurich. Represent, yeah, Meshmello. You've been doing a lot of commenting on YouTube, so I appreciate that. Keep that up. And so those are kind of the things I had here on my notes. If anyone else has any questions, be happy to answer any other questions. And let me see here if I have anything else to talk about. I think I covered most of it. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, yeah. By the way, I had to change the link, so I'm sorry. I think originally I posted the link and then I tried to test it, and when I went live, it basically had to restart and create a new live post. So I hope it worked for you guys. And yeah, I appreciate everyone watching. We got 9 viewers from around the world: Amsterdam, Zurich, Palm Beach, Denmark. So all over the place. Appreciate that. And of course, after this live preview, it's also going to be on YouTube so other people can watch it. So yeah, appreciate you. And I might do this more often just because it's a little bit easier to post live instead of having to shoot and then reshoot and do several takes and then edit and add music and add text and intros, outros, and so on. So this just seems way easier. So Meshmello is asking now, best spot you have winged outside Hawaii so far or planning to? So, well, that's a good question. Let's see. I started winging pretty much when the first wings came out, which was I think about 3 years ago now, and I've been to a few places after. Like I've been to New Zealand where I kind of had the opportunity to go winging, but it wasn't quite windy enough, and I had to borrow gear, and I wasn't able to go out in Pauanui. But so that was really the only place other than Hawaii where I had an opportunity even to go winging. So I haven't been winging outside of Oahu actually. Like then the pandemic hit, and I haven't been traveling since that trip to New Zealand, which was in I think February of 2020, and so that's something I'm looking forward to, traveling and winging. You know, that's probably something most of you haven't really had a chance to do much of yet. So it'll be great to get out and try different spots out for sure. So Dave R saying, I have a kite foil board, like many people, a lift or more. I'm thinking of making and or adding some foam fiberglass under kite foil board to make a beginner floaty wingboard. Oh wow, okay. So adding some foam and fiberglass under the kiteboard. I mean, definitely that's possible. I've actually, I wish I had the photo. Maybe I'll post that later. But I saw a guy at a local beach. He had a Wavestorm. It's one of those Wavestorm boards that you can get at Costco for cheap, and to add volume. And he mounted a plate mount on the bottom of it with like through the deck and screwed it down real tight. So that seemed to work, but then I guess it didn't have quite enough volume. So he took pool noodles and he cut them in half, and he glued the pool noodles on the bottom of the board, like 4 pool noodles, and to add extra volume. And I'm sure that also added some drag, and I'm not sure how it worked, but I just saw it on the beach and I thought it was pretty ingenious, a pretty ingenious way to add volume without spending a lot of money. So maybe that's something to consider, but I definitely don't know if it worked or not. I kind of asked him, and he said, yeah, it added some volume, but I'm not sure if he's actually able to get up on the foil with those pool noodles on the bottom. Probably adds a lot of extra drag, but who knows? Maybe it's a great way to also keep the board going straight and so on. So anything to add volume should probably work. I mean, but if you're gonna make the effort to glue more foam on and reglass it and everything else, maybe it's just easier to just build a whole new board, you know. So I don't know, if you're gonna do all that work, it might be better to just start with a whole new blank, shape a new board, and then glass it, you know. Okay, Dave R, like training wheels for a bike, adding liters of float. Temporary, adding a U-shaped piece around under foil and out to the edge rails. Okay, a U-shaped piece under foil, around and under the foil and out to the edges rails. Perhaps an inflatable float or some urethane molded to my kite foil board shape. What do you think of this idea, and is anyone doing this? Well, okay, so I mean, I know for stand-up paddling, there's some floats available, like inflatable floats that you can attach to the rail of the board. They're like long noodles that are inflatable, and they strap around the top and bottom of the board, so that makes the board wider and more floaty. And something like that is definitely possible. I'll look for the link for that product, and I'll try to add it to the video later down below. But yeah, I think it is possible. I don't know if it's ideal. I mean, one of the things always when people start winging is, you need a big floaty stable board to start winging. But once you kind of get the basics down, you don't need a board that big anymore. Actually, the smaller, the better. So it's kind of one of those things where people don't really want to buy that big board because you're going to grow out of it. But at the same time, you do need that big board to learn. So you can't just buy an advanced wing foil board and learn on it. It's very challenging. So unless you're like super athletic and you really want to challenge yourself, I don't recommend getting a small wing board to just learn on, basically. So if you can find a friend or borrow or rent or lease or whatever you can do, a big board, buy a used one for cheap and then resell it. That's probably the best way to do it. Don't spend a ton of money on a big floaty stable wing board, but it's something that you do need for learning on. And yeah, if there's a hack like that, adding some volume with inflatables and so on, it might work, but it's also going to add drag and cause other issues. So I'm not sure if that's the best way to go about it. Maybe just try to find a cheap beat up stable, like a stand-up foil board or something that you can just stand on without sinking it and without being too challenged with balancing on it. Just makes it a lot easier to get up on the foil the first time. So now Dave is saying, I have been using an old windsurfer until I may afford a real wingboard. Yeah, so old windsurfers are great for learning how to the wing handling, going upwind, and things like that. Ideally, you want a windsurf board that has a dagger board in the middle, like a long dagger board. That'll just allow you to kind of stay upwind. If your board only has a fin in the back or fins, like a stand-up paddle board, it's much harder to stay upwind because it just tends to drift downwind sideways, and it's harder to engage those fins and make the board go upwind or sideways to the wind. And I've actually also heard of people putting a foil on their board without the wing, so without the front wing, so they can't lift up, but you still have that long foil that acts kind of like a dagger board or a rudder and allows you to go upwind even without the foil. So that kind of takes out the foiling out of the equation, but it still allows you to kind of go upwind on a big foil board. All right, so I hope that answers your question, Dave. Yeah, I guess there's no easy answer to that. I mean, if you can make your kite foil board work, but obviously it's gonna be a pretty small board. I'm assuming like a small kite foil board is probably gonna be pretty small to learn winging on, because it's just gonna keep sinking and just makes it much harder. If you can have a board that floats on the surface and is stable enough to stand up on, and then get your wing going, it's going to make your life a whole lot easier. So maybe try to find a board like that, and then maybe later on you can try to use that the kite foil board for winging as well. Like I've seen people using pretty tiny boards, but it does take some skill, and ideally you want foot straps as well, so you can basically sink the board, put your feet on the straps, and then get the wing over your head and let it lift you up and slowly get the board nose up, get the board lifted out of the water on the surface, and then get it planing on the foil. All right. Okay, so I think if we don't have any more questions, I'm gonna finish this up. Thank you all for watching, and of course we'll this video is also going to be available on our YouTube channel, so always watch it later. I'm going to try to add all those links that I was talking about. And yeah, thank you for watching, and stay tuned for 2 videos every single day. It's exciting. I'm halfway through the month, so for the month of June, we're posting videos every day. I started out with a bunch of videos in the queue that I could just post, but now I'm down to just like the last video or last 1 or 2 videos. So I'm having to edit a video every day, and today I'm doing a live feed, so this makes my life a little bit easier. And I might do this a couple more times this month, especially since I've got so much great feedback. I appreciate that. The kiteboards are only a few liters, like 20 to 40. Yeah, that's a pretty small board. So I know, like my friend Daniel has a prone foil board that's about 30 liters, but that's after a 1.5 years of wing foiling pretty much every day. He's doing really well, and he's a very talented foil surfer. So for him, that's possible. I only use a board that's 76 liters, and I started on a board that was like 130 liters. So it's a process. Work your way down to the lower volume board slowly, and for a lot of people, like the really low volume boards are not really necessary. I think it's it's definitely a trade-off. You do get some advantages of having a tiny low volume board, but it also has a lot of disadvantages. So to me, I'm always for making it a little bit easier and having more fun, and that's where those little bit bigger volume boards are great. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching, and like always, please give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the Blue Planet Surf YouTube channel. Probably all of you guys are already subscribers anyway. Thank you so much. We have now have over 31,000 subscribers in the world, so it's so awesome, and kind of hard to believe that there's even that many people into these sports. But and 10 million views, which this blows me away. Anyways, thank you so much, and as always, see you on the water. Aloha. All right.